I'm Judith Schaechter. I'm the artist in residence at the Penn Center for Neuroaesthetics. I am a stained glass artist and I live and work in Philadelphia. John said at our very first meeting, whatever you do, don't make a picture of a brain. I thought that was hilarious because I think ultimately everything an artist does is a picture of a brain. Like, how can you get away from that? But point well taken, I'm not doing an illustration of a brain. I find the lab meetings really fascinating. First of all, I draw the whole time and I'm using the drawings in my project in conjunction with my residency. So it's useful, but when I'm drawing, I'm really not concentrating on the drawing. In fact, that's very important. I'm listening to people talk. We often have really stimulating discussions at lunch. I would not want to miss lunch ever at lab meeting. Often we're talking about what got discussed during the meeting itself, and because there isn't enough time for everyone to share their ideas, it really does feel like an intellectual salon, like a brain trust discussing these things. Well, this is my project for my residency, and it is a small domed structure inspired by, but not based on, not being faithful to biophilic principles. Obviously, stained glass has a long history of being in churches. I'm not religious at all, but I do feel that spiritual experience is also available to anybody, and I wanted to make basically a secular space that would connect people to the cosmos. A space that is truly designed to integrate the soul with the cosmos, if anyone can make such a grandiose claim, cannot avoid some of the parts of nature that are tricky. This will be the biggest piece I've ever made, and part of me is making it for personal reasons. I just want to see if I can pull this off. In a way, if I had to make something actually biophilic, I think I would die of boredom. So. I was always interested in making beautiful things, although some people who've looked at my artwork think that that's an absurd claim. Beauty is a universal experience. So when we say something like beauty is in the eye of the beholder or beauty is only skin deep, I think we're selling it short. It's an experience that everyone has, and it's a powerful experience, and we have to account for that somehow. But one of the things I've experienced as a glass artist is people rejecting my work because they consider it broken. And that seemed analogous to the idea of facial anomalies, because first of all, in order to assemble a stained glass window, all the pieces are technically broken. That's how you make them certain shapes. You break them into those shapes. And whether it's an officially sanctioned break or not, most breaks are not ruining the piece or harming it structurally, but people, they have a absolute aversion to it, and the piece is now no good. And so I wanted to make a piece full of breaks. They were all made intentionally, and they were all made through the faces of the characters. And I found out a lot about myself. I found it very hard to do that. It felt like I was damaging actual human faces. I couldn't break her through the face at all. I just couldn't do it. I think that's the best face in some ways, and I just couldn't break the face. So I added extra breaks in her hair to compensate. I have all these ideas, like if I was a neurologist and every time I tell them to Anjan, he tells me, well, come up with the experiment. And that's where I just fall apart. It's like, I don't have one. I don't know, you stick them in a machine and the machine tells you, something happened, right? The other day I was minding my own business and my mind was just sort of idly wandering, and I thought, God, I kind of wish I'd pursued science. I don't really wish that. One thing I think artists have always wanted to do is ally themselves with the truth and make images that are authentic and relevant and meaningful in a way that reflects that. People sometimes ask, are scientists creative like artists, or silly questions like that. What I've learned is that science is analogously creative. I mean, it's very, very creative. You know what? I am interested in neuroscience for the exact same reasons that all of you are interested in neuroscience. What is more interesting than the human consciousness? Nothing is more interesting than that. And that is what everyone wants to know, myself included. I would not, art is just an example. It's like an inroad into that, but there's a zillion others.